Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We are here with Tammy. I call her Tammy D because that's what your book cover says with the free gift from Tammy D. Is it free gift from Coach Tammy D or free gift from Tammy D?
It's free gift from Tammy D. The only reason is free gift from Tammy was $2,500.
That's these website people, they'll buy up all these names and just hold on to them. They're not
Yep.
even doing anything with them.
Right.
Yeah, so sometimes I look to try to get a free gift from Coach Katherine, and it was taken. Oh, I looked for free gift from Katherine. Anyway, I ended up going with free gift from Coach Cat. So just KAT. So sometimes we just have to make adjustments and whatever. It's all good, right?
Yeah, and
So
it's in print on the book cover, so they got it every time.
yeah, so we're here today with Tammy D, and she's got a new book out called Age Beautifully or Aging Beautifully.
Age beautifully.
Age Beautifully. I read it on my flight to Minnesota. Oh, good, you got it with you. What's the subtitle there?
It is the ultimate women's guide to glowing skin, a healthy body, and sustainable energy.
Okay, and I know you've got a lot to say on this topic, and I thought this was an important topic for everyone. We've got some can't wait to watch, looking forward to this. How are you doing? Nice to meet you, Tammy.
Good morning.
Seeing we've got Michael here, we've got Donald here, Derek here, Junior here, Clover Cow, Nana, Nicola, Sub-Zero's here, Gregory's here, Bethany's here. We got a few people.
What a
People are still
blessing.
hopping on.
Yeah.
So, Tammy, I want people to know that. Okay, so from the outset, so people know, okay, she's got a book on aging beautifully, but where did this all stem from? Because you were having some pretty serious health conditions. This isn't just like a book or show about like, ooh, I'm going to show you how to keep your skin young. You had some debilitating issues you were dealing with, and you kind of were thinking life wasn't even worth living anymore. You were in so much pain. Can you share some of that?
I really don't like to go back to the negative, but I know that there are so many people that suffer with what I've gone through and what I fight through pretty much on a daily basis. In my early 30s, my um, daughter was about 2 years old, and one morning I couldn't get out of bed anymore because of the pain, and my whole body was racked with it. Took about a year, and if the diagnosis came back that it was fibromyalgia. And then, of course, from the diagnosis comes the medication, and the medication is actually worse than the diagnosis. Side
Yeah.
effects, gained, about 40 pounds. Um, I was in so much pain. I couldn't be intimate with my husband. I couldn't help with our computer business. I couldn't hardly help with my daughter. And he was kind of almost like a bachelor for a year with a child and running a business. And with us being in a small rural town in Anniston, Alabama, we were the local computer people as well as dial up internet. And so he was wearing 16,000 hats while I was laying in bed and couldn't hardly get up to go to the bathroom. And it's not an easy thing to overcome, but I am here to let you know you can overcome it. God will help you through it, but you've got to do your part. And that's where the book came out of, was that horrible, dark nightmare in my life that, it was when you feel hopeless, helpless, and homely, and you come over the rainbow bridge, so to speak. It's so miraculous to know that God's there. And that's where I really want people to know that there is hope. You're going to have to do some things, but you can win the war and continue to win the war.
I know there's at least a couple. I don't know everyone's like health history or what they're dealing with, but I know there's at least two people on right now that are constantly riddled with pain. Fibromyalgia is what one person has. How, so you got over it and you had some techniques that helped you do it. There was a time where God just started downloading in you um, ideas of how you could be healed, and He led you to the Dead Sea in Israel for part of your healing. Do you want to share with us how that all went down?
This was the most miraculous thing that really was a game changer for the whole situation. I had reached the bottom of the barrel, and I was just like, okay, at age 34, this is my life. This is not what I signed up to have as my future. And I reached the point where I was just like, okay, God, either take me home or show me a better way to live, because this is not a quality of life I'm willing to put up with. And he downloads to you when you start asking for it. He's always a gentleman, a perfect gentleman, and he will never enforce anything on you. But when you begin to seek, he will allow you to find. And of course, this was back in the day of dial up, and I'm using the computer at my house. And I was just searching, and I started learning about herbs and then essential oils. And I was just like, okay, but I need healing, and I don't know how I'm going to have that. And I ran across a document that was a medical research document online. We didn't have it, wasn't, it was just random posted out there at this point in time. Now you find, and I actually in the book have all these references where God led me to find these answers for all of these treatments that occurred to do the healing. But I read about the Dead Sea healing or strengthening hair roots. Now, you can't tell it now, but at that time in my life, I was battling seborrheic psoriasis, had battled it medically for 14 years with the doctors, and it was getting worse. I was losing my hair and going bald. And as a woman, especially in your 30s, that's your glory. It's your main, so to speak, and
Mhm.
just your identity. It shouldn't be your identity, of course, but when you're young, you don't have the wisdom, so you go with what the world wants you to look like, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't lose my hair. I don't want to go bald. At this rate, I'm going to be bald, but completely bald by the time I'm 40. So I read this that it would strengthen the hair roots, and so I had Dead Sea Mud because I was retailing a product line in my shop. And so I was like, I'm gonna freaking slap some mud in my hair. And long story short, I did, and I started creating treatments, and all of this is in the book. But made these treatments, and over the course of 12 weeks, not only did it just eradicate it, it healed it completely with no scars. And the story is very in depth in the book, but it's not your normal way. Think about it. Let's put mud
Yeah.
in our hair to get it clean. Who knew?
Yeah. So
Who knew?
what do you feel like God was telling you was the secrets in the all the minerals and stuff that you pulled out of the Dead Sea that you now feature in your products? How is it that they heal people, or what is it about it? Is there something like, is it scientific? Is it like biblical, miraculous? What do you think it is that makes the product so your whole product line, like I have some of your stuff in front of me. I've got your Dead Sea mud mask. Is this what you were using on your hair, or you had like a different
No, we
treatment?
actually we actually have a different formula now. At that time, I was raw, and it was a nightmare. And so learning and
So your
growing through,
skin was raw.
no, I was using the raw Dead Sea mud.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And then, of course, I was like, "Oh, this is awful," because when you rinsed it out, your hair was all matted, it was tangled, it was a mess. And I was like, I need to take this stuff and start making it where it's nourishing and nurturing my scalp and the hair roots. But
Mhm.
when you asked me about what of the three things, it's actually all three. It's scientific, it's biblical, and it's also miraculous, because when you really look at the human body, the Bible tells us we're made from the dust of the earth. Well, what
Mm.
is that? It's pure minerals. We
Mm.
are pure minerals. And when we are depleting our health, our body from these minerals, things go crazy. And
Mhm.
one of the things I'm finishing up right now is my free ebook that will be out on the website. I've had to redo it 3 times because I found new stuff and wanted to add it in.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that happens.
but I was like, they got to know this too, and they got to know this, and so I'm getting it finished up now, and we'll have it on the free gifts from TammyD.com next week. But your body is it's pure minerals, and the most important mineral is magnesium. Well, the Dead Sea is got the highest content on planet Earth of magnesium chloride. It's at about a 33% content. Now, if you take magnesium chloride orally, it acts as a laxative. And so it
Oh.
just detoxifies the colon. It goes straight through, it can't be absorbed. But
Mm,
there's this really awesome organ that God gave us that covers the whole body called the skin. It is your 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 miraculous healer because it draws in. So when I began to soak in the semi-dry Dead Sea salts that were 33% magnesium chloride, my
mm,
body began to draw that mineral in, and then it began to help it heal. The cool part is that when you really dive into all of this stuff, there's a healer hidden in the Dead Sea salt crystals. But you have to get what's called the semi-dry salt crystals in order for that healer to be present. Now, over in
mm.
Israel and Jordan, they mine the Dead Sea to reap from it the minerals. They harvest it out of the salt. Then they take that and they make fertilizer and they sell it worldwide. It's $1 trillion a year industry. Well, what's left behind is Dead Sea salt, but just sodium chloride. But it tastes just as bitter as the semi-dry does, but everything has been ripped and stripped out of it, and it's no longer anything but like Morton salt. They have,
Yeah.
like just mountains of this raw sodium chloride, Dead Sea salt over there. So that's where you
So,
get the
yeah,
anti.
I've noticed that there are like other product lines, other beauty lines that claim to have like the Dead Sea salt, but it's it's different. It's maybe it's using what you said is like the leftover stuff that's been stripped
Correct.
of, the important parts, and it doesn't have the effect what you're using has. So I guys, I met Tammy in July. Was it June or July at the Bestseller on Fire conference? And this is a Christian conference for authors. And she did a facial on me, and the mask and all that. And so, I've been using her products since then. I really love the 7-in-1 spa. We've got, the Dead Sea mud mask, the toning stuff. I've got a few other things I don't have with me. Oh, your little Max Tox, your Botox alternative. And
Yeah.
these are all natural. There's no chemicals. And I'm not even like telling you guys this because I'm not getting any kind of kickback or discount, or I'm not getting paid to say any of this. And I wanted to share with you because this isn't just something like a girl thing or a a beauty thing, that these actually have some medicinal healing properties. And I want to get into some unconventional ways that you have used some of these products that people would be like, what? As I was reading your book, I was like, what? So today I've showed up on the live stream. I did not put foundation on. This is my bare skin. So I wanted, let people know, okay, I've been using these products since July. um, I've got no foundation on today, and this is what my skin looks like bare after using these products for a few months. And so I thought it was really funny when in your book, like, you got a bee sting. and most people would be, I don't know what they would do, but you're like, and when you got a sunburn and you're shouting for your husband, get the mud. And you're slathering your body with this Dead Sea mud for a bee sting, for a sunburn. Like it's not just like for beauty treatments. You got like some medical stuff going on, and you're like, get the mud.
That's always, I need to make a shirt that just says "Get the mud."
You should make a shirt that says "Get the mud" because that's hysterical. I bet even people would buy that shirt who like run those mud races. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's just funny. So tell us, like, what happened.
Well, the stories, that's the reason for the book, because when I tell these stories to people, they go, "You should write this down in a book." And I was just like, "Who wants to read that?" Right? But then when I began to really understand, because this has been this year, 2023 is 25 years I've been working with the Dead Sea. Yeah, so it's been a quarter of a century. But every time a problem occurs, a skin issue, a burn, sunburn, like burn your hand on the stove, get a blister from working outside, my first instinct is put some mud on it. Here's the thing, what's it going to hurt? And I didn't know the answer until I tried it. But every
Mhm.
time I've done it, it's worked.
So is it just like pulling the impurities out? What is it actually
Yeah,
doing?
it actually does. It's like a twofold situation. It detoxifies an area, and then it works on the healing because of the high mineral content. So and our products aren't like any other Dead Sea product out there. We actually go to extra lengths to make 13 extracts using the high magnesium Dead Sea brine that we import in 650-gallon drums, and then we infuse it for a year per extract with certified organic herbs. And then we strain all that out. So our extract base is Dead Sea mineral too. And then we add in the Dead Sea salts and the Dead Sea mud and all these things. So we aren't a combination of science and nature. We rely on nature to use our these ingredients to aid with aging beautifully. And that's the side effect. You actually look younger the more you use it. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I've been looking at pictures, and how you get your things that pop up 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 9 years ago, and I can tell the difference in the volume of my hair over the course of this time. And my skin actually looks better. My eyebrows are fuller at almost
Yeah.
60 years old in August because of doing these things. And I coined this little word, it's called stay with itness.
Yeah.
Just don't stop.
Yeah.
Stay with it, because it will make a difference. And sometimes, it's just like when you start your exercise program, or if you start trying to do something better, you're always going to have these obstacles. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, just stay with it. Just stay with it. Get the mud. Just stay with it. I'm going to have a couple more shirts added to this line.
Yeah, right? So tell me, how did the like this products from the Dead Sea, how did your formulations help you with the crippling fibromyalgia pain? What is the connection there?
The very first thing that I learned about was when I was a little girl, my mom worked at a rehabilitation center for physical therapy. And so they did hydrotherapy tubs. And so I knew about the benefit of hydrotherapy. And then I was like, well, what if I put the Dead Sea salt in my jacuzzi tub? And then instead of using products like fragrances, because these are contaminating your body, let's use essential oils, God's fragrance.
Yes.
Let's use the pure essential oil.
Let's pause on that for a second, because I bet nobody on this live stream right now knows how toxic fragrance and perfumes are.
Oh,
Like
it's
I found this out a couple years ago, and I stopped using all perfumes and fragrances, and you know
plugins, the sprays. I had it all. I sold candles. I made candles. I was a fragrance junkie, and that
yeah.
was one of the things that God told me. You are treating your temple like a shack out back, and you
Mhm.
have got to eliminate these things out of your body and go into my garden and begin to utilize what I've put here. Yeah,
Mhm.
we have sort of, well, we went through a chemical era, and that's why we've got so many people, especially in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and higher, that are battling repeat issues with cancer, because
Mm.
a bottle of fragrance that just draws you in has over 4,000 toxic chemicals hiding in that word fragrance on that label. Over 4,000 to make
Wow.
that thing smell that way. And it's meant to entice you, draw you in, and get you addicted, and then it begins to slowly contaminate your body over the course of time. Same thing that happens with our beauty products. And that was where I had to learn how to not do these things to myself.
Yeah, and I saw one of the health gurus I follow talk about even the correlation or between these fragrances having toxic heavy metals in them, and that being causative of like Alzheimer's down the road, dementia, all that stuff. People go, oh, I'm just going to spray this perfume, I'm just going to spray this hairspray, and they're sucking it all in. Like sometimes when I go to work and the janitor just got done cleaning, and the harsh
Burns your
whatever
eyes.
using in the mop bucket is so strong. Cleaning products, people don't realize they're breathing in all these chemicals that are toxic heavy metals. Are getting stuck in your cells, are getting stuck in your fat tissues, they're getting stuck in your brain. And then people are going through life with brain fog, with memory issues, and they don't,
Migraines,
because, and what'd you say?
migraines.
Migraines. They don't realize they're putting it on themselves or inhaling. We don't need to add any of those toxins, because just being out in public, in nature, in other buildings, we're the chemtrails, we're getting sucking it all in without us adding to it.
And your skin is too. You're not just breathing it in, but you're absorbing it in. And yeah,
Yeah.
and the lotions, that have the synthetic colors, the synthetic colors, dyes, you got a fragrant body lotion. Those are the most toxic things in the world. And going to a massage therapist, unless they are using all natural products, which most don't, because it's so much cheaper to buy it by the gallon for 19.95, and have
Yeah.
all these toxins as they massage your body with
They're
this in the
pushing
name of health.
toxins
They're just they're
into the
they're literally
body.
bombing your body.
So maybe that's a case where people could just bring their own, or do you think maybe just using, I mean, I like your 7-in-1 organic.
Yeah.
I like to use this for stuff. But do you think, like, even just if someone, they're just something that's cheap and easy that they might have at home, do you think even just using like a pure organic coconut oil could be an alternative for something that they could do right now rather than using toxic stuff? Would that be any better? I mean,
Well, yes, and let me address the coconut oil because that's a big buzzword right now.
it
Um,
is.
by itself, don't use it by itself all the time. What you want to do is you want to mix and blend that with other oils that are going to have a lower pH, because coconut oil on its own down the road, you can end up with dry skin, and itchy problems. So
Oh.
if you're going to do an all natural, the best one is going to be virgin organic olive oil.
Oh, okay.
And if you're when you're going, our 7-in-1 oil is all virgin organic oils, and you want the color. We've gotten away where everything needs to be pristine, clear or white. That means just like the salt, ripped and stripped. When
Mm,
it's that color, it means that there's literally no value left. All we have now is something that's slippery, but
mm,
it sounds good. But
mhm,
when you really get into nature and the trees and the plants, they've got color. They've got
mhm.
so much color. And so and we have to get our mind adjusted when you go to something natural and organic. It's a completely different look. Even things that say fragrance free or unscented, you
Yeah.
want to use a fragrance in them that is going to neutralize aroma, and it has
Oh,
another 4,000 chemicals to hide it, and you'll see it on there when it says unscented or hypoallergenic, all these little buzzwords.
yeah,
Dive into the label, because the label can't lie. Some do, but they shouldn't.
yeah. Well, I noticed in your book you had a whole, I mean, you're very knowledgeable about what every single ingredient is and what it does and all that stuff. Now, if you're reading the label on any product that's like bought from a shelf, even those that are labeled natural, that's a very loose term. It's that could still be hiding a lot of toxic things. And in your book, Age Beautifully, you do have a list of toxins to avoid, like to look for on your products to avoid to avoid? And it's a very long list, but for the people today, could you give them what you feel like is the top three? Like, do not buy products absolutely with these ingredients. Like, it might be overwhelming if you give us more than three, but
Yeah.
like for
Well,
starters.
there's really the top five.
Okay, let's go with five.
The first one is always going to be parabens. Uh,
Parabens.
we went the route when we started in 98. Of course, we did parabens. And then by 2000, Europe had banned them. And so then we went to the formaldehydes and the ureas. And then Europe banned those. So then we went to phenoxyethanol. And then Europe banned it. Now it's ironic because Europe banned it back in about 2016, 2017. But now they've lifted that ban. And I don't know why. But we in 2017, as I learn and follow everything, because whatever Europe says don't do, it's still legal here today.
I've
Parabens
noticed
still
that the food
legal.
industry and the cosmetic
Yes,
industry,
we
America is
are
allowing
the
them to have
last.
so much toxins that other countries do not have. For example, so many Americans gluten intolerant, but when they cannot eat bread, pasta, but when they go to Italy, they
They
eat bread
can,
and pasta and they don't have the bloating and the issues. And I think it's because what
you
we
know,
do, how we're growing things, the chemicals we're allowing in the fertilizers or whatever, that's making everybody sick and bloated.
it is. It truly is. But other things you want to avoid are going to be synthetic fragrances, synthetic dyes. Now, the thing that's interesting, it used to show up on your label, propylene and butylene glycol. And this is where I found back in 2008, God spoke to me and he told me, I don't want you buying any more extracts from the industries. I want you making your own because propylene and butylene glycol are petroleum byproduct based. And our products are completely petroleum byproduct free because over in the United States of America, petroleum does not have to be triple refined to get out carcinogens. So
Mm.
the products are actually contaminated as a base already. And then propylene and butylene glycol actually deliver fast into the skin. So they're actually a carcinogen fastly delivering all the other things that are in that bottle into your body. And so
So it
that
opens you up to more toxins faster is what it sounds like.
the way that they put it on most websites is it helps to draw in all of the goodness that's in this product, and they capitalize on the key ingredients. But you always want to look for the full list of ingredients because
Yeah.
it has to be listed. But they'll just list chamomile extract or green tea extract or rose extract. Sounds glamorous and botanical, but then it's with these petroleum byproduct bases, not healthy. And
Yeah.
here's the thing, when I used to buy them by the 5-gallon drums, it took 6 weeks to make it. 2
Wow.
weeks 2 weeks from when I started, they would create it and then get it to me within 6 weeks. So, because the propylene and the butylene glycol bases will extract so much faster. That's why we infuse for a year to make sure that we get all the goodness out of those herbs, but it's with Dead Sea mineral water base, not petroleum
So
byproduct bases.
I think that's interesting to talk just to touch on for a second because all these other big companies selling anything for the skin and body, they're in for big profit, quick turnaround.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever they're doing to make the product, like if they don't get a turnaround like in a week or two or less, they're not doing it. And for me to hear you take this, you infuse the stuff for an entire year
Yeah.
to make sure it gets all the stuff out. I mean, that's just the extra level of how clean your products are. There's so many products out there now that claim to be organic or claim to be vegan or claim to be clean or claim to be I was just looking at one of like I have this hand cream sitting in my drawer. And some things like I don't know, you're talking about how they lure you in with like whatever the special ingredient is, but that could be so far down on the list on the back. So this is like a hand cream, it says 96% natural ingredients. So makes you wonder what the other 4% is and what it's doing to your body as you're slathering these things on. And more, I feel like it's better to, I don't know what some of these things are. Uh, more and more, I feel like it's better to just like, if you're somewhere and there's hand cream or whatever, just don't even, better not to put it on, better to have a little bit of dry hands and get home and use the good, whatever good products you have. It's not just about aging beautifully. It goes deeper into when you're this, what people don't always realize is that the skin is the largest organ in the body.
Exactly.
So it's soaking in, all those toxic chemicals are soaking into your body. It's not just sitting on the surface of your skin making you smooth, it's going into your liver. People's livers and kidneys are on toxic overload,
Yes.
not just because of the junk they're eating, but even the stuff they're putting on their skin and what they're breathing in the air. And if you want to have a good quality of life later in life, these are things you need to think about, like, early on. And you wonder why our grandparents and great grandparents didn't have all these health issues. They were doing natural things. They were making their own soap. They weren't going to the store out of convenience, getting whatever's on the shelf, and they would just peacefully die in their sleep. And it seems like now people are starting to have medical and health issues in their 40s and 50s and 60s, you in your 30s. And there's people in their teen years and 20s that are riddled with pain and issues going on, and they don't realize it's from what they're consuming, what they're putting on, what they're breathing in.
Well, the thing is that we've been conditioned
Hmm.
to be blind.
Yeah.
And until we decide to take these blinders off, which is where, when I reached the bottom of the barrel looking up and I'm thinking that the light I'm seeing is the freight train about to kill me, and it was actually God saying, I'm here. I'm waiting when you're ready, reach up and I'll pull you out of this pit. But
Yeah.
and people will hear this message 50,000 times before it sinks in, or
Yeah.
until, unfortunately, like myself, something catastrophic has to happen for you to wake up. And that's why I wrote the book, because I was being selfish keeping this to myself, not
Hmm.
intentionally, but because I thought nobody's going to care.
Mm.
It's not going to make any difference. But
Hmm.
if it helps one person because I did it, that's what
Yeah.
it was all about. And it's
Yeah.
actually been, helping a lot of different people over the, just in the month that the book has been out. But people we quit asking questions,
Hmm.
and we just listen. Now we're what I call sheeple.
uh,
We just follow the leader, you know, and whatever the leader says. And unfortunately, now our leaders lie instead
yeah.
of telling us the truth. And if you hear a lie 10 times, you're going to believe that lie eventually.
Yeah. So
And that's
let's,
just like the soy business and the coconut business. That's why,
yeah.
you're talking about the organic and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Let's take, for instance, that 7-in-1 oil that you've
Hmm.
got. The word virgin organic argon is like the third oil or fourth on that label.
Yeah.
With most products, it's down at the bottom. The first one, soy.
Yeah.
Or rapeseed. No, it's canola. Rapeseed is what canola really is. They renamed it because rapeseed's scary, and it really is bad for your body. You know,
Mm.
or the cheapest is going to be things along the line of your sunflower, not high oleic or virgin organic, but just regular sunflower oil. These kind of things, and they sound harmless and help. Just something that's not going to hurt you, but take into consideration every single day, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day, it builds up over
Yeah.
time.
So I'm going to look at some of the questions people have been asking.
Oh, great.
Um, people were asking about, is like petroleum jelly bad?
Petroleum jelly is
And that's like a Vaseline product, right?
it is Vaseline. I make a product called Soothing Salve that is a petroleum jelly alternative,
I have that. It's like this kind of the same consistency and look to it.
but it's
Uh-huh.
green because of all the virgin organic oils in it. Petroleum jelly is what petroleum products in general, paraffin, mineral oil, or Vaseline, petroleum jelly do is they lay on the surface. And what it's okay if you have to have it in the form of medicine, because then it's going to hold the medicine in place. And that's the only time that, because you get a cream or an ointment from the pharmaceutical with a steroid in it, they're not going to take the time to make a virgin organic ointment and put the steroid in there. They need something that's going to be mass produced and able to sit in that tube for 5 to 7 years and be okay. Now
Mm.
they'll have an expiration date, but most expiration dates are just a suggestion for
Right.
things, right?
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with petroleum jelly in the United States, it is usually not triple refined.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a contaminant. And so
Okay.
that's why we just completely steered way away from any opportunity to even remotely have that present. Because once you get it out of the body, you don't want to even trickle a smidge back in. You want to keep
Mm.
it on. And so that's why we did that. But you're going to, people, when I went back to school, when I lost all 10 fingernails, I'm sorry, to the acrylic abuse that I did and raw
So
meat.
list those of you who are getting fake fingernails or Tammy lost all of her fingernails because of what that toxic acrylic was doing. You can share a little bit about that before so people know what you're talking about.
Well, I have very thin hair and very thin breakable nails. And so when acrylics came out, I was like, yeah, I can have those fangs, right? So I followed the rules. I went every 2 weeks, got the fill. They had the little OPI bottle on the table, and it was the owner doing my nails every week. And I went in one day to get get a new set put on. And so you had to soak off in the acetone, and then you go scrub the hands. And I'm not paying attention, but it felt like just pain, excruciating pain when I was using that little brush. So I go to sit down at the table, put my little hands out there, and I was looking. I said, "Boy, these look rough today, Miss Sue." And she, she looks at me and she goes, "I cannot put on you." And I said, "What do you mean you can't put on me? Fix my fingers, you know?" And she goes, "You have no nail beds." And I just sat there and broke into tears because I realized I've lost all of my fingernails because of my addiction to this stuff. But what did I do wrong? I didn't. I followed the rules that were given to me. The thing was, she was actually hiding a illegal primer in those OPI bottles called MMA that's used in the dental industry to get this dissolve acrylic. Then when they make the denture, they have to take that denture and put it into an autoclave for a minimum of 48 hours to ensure there is no trace of MMA there because it's so toxic. And in
Wow.
1974, FDA actually banned it from the beauty industry. But they buy MMA in a gallon jug for, well, back then it was $9.95 a gallon. Now it's like maybe $29.95 a gallon, but the OPI gallon is 220. So they'll buy the little bottles, and then when the staff are gone, the owners will fill it up with the cheap stuff. But even the staff, a lot of times, aren't aware that this is happening. And you, on the other side of that table, just see the neatness and see the OPI bottle, and they're using that, and you don't know. And that's what happened to me. So
Wow.
when I started sticking my hands in the mud to put it in my hair, my nails grew back after 2 years of being raw meat. They would
Wow.
not. They would
It took
not grow
2
back.
years for your fingernails to grow back?
They weren't growing back, but the Dead Sea mud triggered the regrowth, and now I have my natural nails. And it's just been it's well, of course, the book's got all these crazy stories in it, but
Yeah,
when I work with women, they're like, "I want to get off these things." The first thing I do is I have them use our Dead Sea dermabrasion on their clean nail beds and wrap them up and use the heated mitts because the heat triggers the Dead Sea microbe that's in the semi-dry salts to activate to begin the healing process. So when
Hmm.
you add heat to the Dead Sea, it magnifies it 10 times
Mhm.
to accelerate it.
Someone is asking, what's the difference between coconut oil and cocoa butter?
Well, coconut oil is going to be higher alkalinity. Cocoa butter is coming from the cacao nut, and it's communogenic. So you do not want to use anything that has cocoa butter on your face because it can trigger breakouts badly and acne problems. coconut oil is going to be a higher alkalinity level and it will absorb, but it's also a higher alkalinity level. And the skin over time isn't used to that. And so then it will begin to dry it out. It's okay to use it because we use extra virgin coconut oil in our products, even in our soap making with our Dead Sea mud bars. But you want to just make sure, and anytime you're buying anything, make sure everything is virgin organic or extra virgin organic as possible.
Are you, and people want to know, are you, I know you, we know you own your own spa, you have your own product line. Are you a coach as well?
Yes, ma'am. I'm the Age Beautifully coach.
Okay. So
I
is there, do you have a target, like who normally comes to you for coaching?
Most ladies that are over the age of 40,
Hmm.
they're ready. They're like, okay, the kids are gone, or they're about to be gone, and now it's time for me. And where do I begin?
Yeah. So what do you think, like when people come to you at your spa, what is what are like the top three problems they come to you having, and how do you help them with those things?
Top three problems are going to be my skin is dull. I've looked 20 years older than I am, and I just really don't even know where to begin. And so what we do is we actually do like an assessment of everything that they want to have changed. And then we create a regimen or routine for them to do at home. And then they come in to the day spa or get the treatments at least once a month for a set amount of time. And because I'm a day spa owner, going to the spa is a wonderful thing, but let's be honest, you can't afford to do that every day of your life. And that's
Yeah.
why we created the products so that you can, most day spas are going to have products, but these are the only ones that I've encountered that are completely free of all of the garbage that are in most products today in the beauty industry.
And it's sad that a lot of people buy products based on how they smell. Like,
But
oh, this smells good, I'm gonna get this one.
well,
Not
it's an addiction. It's a true addiction, and I created what's called the EOC method, and
what's that?
for your skin, just like your diet and your exercise plateaus. It adjusts and it gets used to what you're using. And so God
Oh,
showed me this answer about 8 years ago now, that he said you go unscented and then you cycle. So the next month you incorporate into it an essential oil blend, and we've made 6 different blends. So every other month you change it just a little bit, and so the skin takes it all with the minerals into itself, and it's just enough difference for it to be consistently great for the body and giving you those results.
so what I've heard throughout the years that your skin and your hair get used to stuff, and you should switch out your hair products or your skin products every now and then. I don't think I followed or understood what you were saying, that you put different essential oils in. Can you?
Yes, okay. So right now with your kit that you have, the facial wash, the toner, and the cream
Yeah.
are unscented,
Okay.
right? So this month you finish out being, this is the last day. So let's say tomorrow, May 1st, you might pick up our Lavender Lovers essential oil blend. And when you use the facial wash on your hand or on your washcloth, 1 or 2 drops of the essential oil, and then apply it. And
Oh,
then you're introducing in this way, we have new packaging coming in right now, by the way, that is refillable, and it has the
oh,
dip tubes in them instead of the airless pumps. So you
okay.
can down the road add it inside the bottle if you want to, but I recommend that you do it manually, which is like 3 seconds. Yeah, nobody wants to go through that. It's 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna walk across the room faster than you're gonna, longer than it's gonna take you to put a couple drops on your washcloth.
Yeah.
You just keep it right there, and then you rotate this out. So then after the next month, you go back to unscented. Then next month, let's pick up the Everything's Coming Up Roses essential oil blend.
Mm,
And all of our blends we custom do in house. And we purchase from the number one leader in the entire world that has been that way since 1998, Dr. Pappas, for essential oils. And that way I know I always have pure product and no synthetics are ever there. And then we buy the raw bases and then blend and make our our essential oil fragrance blends that way. And then my perfume is going to be coming out next month too. So
Your what is?
my perfume.
You're gonna have a non-toxic perfume?
Yes, it's all essential oils. You remember when we were at the Bestseller on Fire conference, and
Uh-huh.
you can out people would come up all the time. I could smell Tammy. So I have had so many people ask me if they could buy my perfume, and I was like, I hadn't thought about that, but we're actually working on getting it ready, and it might be about the middle of May or the end of May, just trying to figure it out. But the name of the perfume is going to be called Captivating, and
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, because I ever since I found out the toxins in the perfumes, I just stopped wearing them, I stopped wearing deodorant because you hear about all the toxins in it. Like, I tried to buy a bunch of, like, the natural deodorants, and I don't know. I had a friend recently, she told me, just get a fresh cut lemon and put lemon juice under your arm." So I've been doing that. I'm like, just putting
Don't
lemon.
shave before you do it.
What's that?
Don't shave right before you do that.
Oh, yeah. That would sting.
Huh.
Tammy, I know one of the things, so besides being probably the cleanest, highest quality products on the market, there's a lot of people that claim they are and all that stuff. One of the things I love about you, and why am drawn to your products, is because I know you're a big believer in the Lord, and I do tend to like to support companies that not only, love God, but, supporting Israel. And I know Israel is close to God's heart. And you're leading Bible studies, you're going to church, you're doing all these things, and you're trying to make a difference in the world with what you do. It's not just about the beauty, and it's not just about becoming pain free, but that's a huge part of it. If you're riddled with pain and you need to, get these toxins out of your body, you can't fulfill the purpose God has for you on earth and what you're here to do. And I just kind of want to hear a little. People are like, it's been a little over their head when we've been talking about the chemicals. They're like,
Um,
where they're saying, we want to hear more about Tammy. We want to hear more about her story. We want to
oh,
hear more about her heart. So is there, like, a main message kind of behind why you do what you do, and what gets you out of bed every morning now? What is your purpose and what you're trying to do in the world?
my main purpose is to literally help women have a higher self-esteem and love who they are right where they are, and for them to really understand there's a lot of things you're going to have to do that you might not want to do, but if you'll do them, the rewards will be exponential. When I turned 50 years old, God told me to become, believe it or not, a certified insanity instructor, because I was
Tell people what that is.
insanity is look up Shaun T. It's a high intensity interval training, and now that I've been, this year is 10 years that I've been doing it. But you have to do exercise and start. I didn't start there. I started out walking up my little bit of a slope driveway that I couldn't hardly reach the mailbox without having to stop in the middle of it. And then once I got to the mailbox, and then I just kept going. And then I started walking the neighborhood, and then I started slowly jogging it, and then started doing 5Ks. And yeah, it's baby steps. And
Mhm.
if you've had a bad day, don't throw in the towel just because it was a bad day. Tomorrow is a new day. It's the renewing of your mind. It's a new opportunity to get a little bit better today. Or if you were great yesterday, let's make it one little baby step higher than it was yesterday. But you're going to have illness, you're going to have things that are going to set you back. But after teaching class for 10 years and going through COVID and going through health issues and, getting bedridden with, COVID for what, 3 days, where some people were a month.
Yeah.
Exercise is your very best friend. And that's really the message I want to drive home, because we hate it. I sweat like Niagara Falls. I can't, and I have to wear a headband. I look like Richard Simmons. I'm just, but here's the thing. If I want to live to be what my goal is of 130 years old, I don't want my family to have to take care of me. I
Yeah.
want to be there to help my great greats and be
Yeah.
that icon and be that person for them as a mom, as a grandmother, as a great grandmother, and
Mhm.
set the level high so they come up to it.
Mhm.
We've got this bar, and now, especially with COVID, and there's no spirit of excellence, and there's no self-care. We just get up, we roll out of bed, and we go to Walmart in what we got on.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we just don't even care anymore. What's the sense? Every
Mhm.
time you do this to yourself, you're killing your self-esteem, and you're killing your purpose. The
Yeah.
purpose that God has intended for you is a step up. It is. And that's
Yeah.
why most people don't want to get there. I don't really want to do that. I'm
Yeah.
not going to tell you a story. Right now is when I'm supposed to be in church, but to make sure that I was on here, I got up early this morning to be at the early service so that I could be here with you.
Yeah.
But it was the best thing that happened to me once I got out of bed.
Yes. Getting started is often the hardest part. Now we've got somebody who's asking, what's the name of the book and where do I purchase it?
The name of the book is Age Beautifully. And I'll pull it up here so you can see it. I'm sorry, you got the little ring light in here trying to get me better looking.
Mhm.
Um, it's right now, it's available on Amazon. We have it in the paperback book, and the Kindle version, all the way up until midnight tonight, is only 99 cents.
What? Guys,
Yeah.
Kindle version up till midnight tonight is only 99 cents. So it'll go back up to whatever full price is after that.
But in
Um,
May, it's going to be $6.99.
in May, it's going to be 6.99.
Yeah.
Okay. And somebody was asking, let me see. Vias is asking, how do you deal with backhanded compliments from people like, oh, you have so much potential. You just have to stay focused. How do you deal with backhanded compliments?
I evaluate them and decide if they're right or wrong. But most of the time, when people say things to you, it's usually out of jealousy,
Mm,
trying to put you down
mm,
and trying to put you under their thumb
mhm.
instead of, and they're actually hurting where you could go. So it's kind of like water on a duck's back. Let it just go. Then later on, if it's something that was, it really hit your spirit, because I've had that. And then it's time to sit down and go, okay, what are they seeing that I don't see? And that's where a coach helps your life so very much. People think that they don't need a coach. I can do it on my own. I have 4 coaches.
I
I
just
can't,
hired a third one.
I had 6, but I just couldn't afford to keep them going. But the ones that I don't use, I've already done the book. You
Yeah,
know, that
yeah.
these kind of things, I've completed that course, but I
Mhm.
still maintain masterminds, because we aren't an island, and it's like, it takes a village to raise a child, right?
Mhm.
You always need those people to bring you to a new level. And just as soon as you think you've arrived, the algorithm changes and the software upgrade comes out. And all of a sudden, you're at the bottom again, learning about something that you don't know about anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's where staying with something along those lines, I'm in a women warrior group, and we have an accountability monthly where every week we come in and we talk about the sugar, getting rid of the sugar. And for me, I'm not gonna hide this. I have a wine addiction, and I had to break it. And the Holy Spirit finally said, Tammy, that's more important to you than me. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh, I hadn't realized that. And so I had to begin a new journey after 40 years. You have one glass, and then there's just a little bit left in the bottle. I need to finish it. Next thing you know, you've drank a whole bottle of wine
Mhm.
every day.
Mhm.
And, this started for my life in January. And it's you just take baby steps.
Yeah.
It's a journey, destination Jesus,
Yeah.
because as soon as you lose the weight, you can't quit exercise and eating right because it's all going to come back in a vengeance. Ask me how I
Keep
know.
doing
I've
it.
already done that yo-yo stuff. That's why
Yeah.
10 years ago it was get on the fast track and stay here.
Yeah. And I quit drinking when I was 22 and have not had
What a
alcohol since I was 22. So we have to know what our things are, what our triggers are. This month of April, well, one of the things in your book, you inspired me when you talked about doing the gallon of water a day challenge. I've been doing that since April 1st, a gallon of water a day.
good for
And
you.
yeah, and
See,
I've
that's
also
why I wrote the book. That's good enough for me right there.
and I also decided like not to have caffeine for the month of April. I'm not a big caffeine drinker anyway. I don't drink coffee, but I would sometimes in the afternoon get in a slump and have tea. And then I was like, anything that has become a crutch to me, I don't like, I just don't want to, I don't want to be dependent upon anything but God, you know? So if you know things are sucking you in, triggering you, they may not be the best for you. Like some people, like I have friends who are addicted to Bed Bath and Beyond. And I
Yeah.
can't even walk by that store. That store stinks of fragrance is so bad. It just to me it smells like toxin. Like once you know, like, but it smells like cherries, but
Mm,
there's no cherries in it. You
exactly.
know, it's a
I know.
toxic
That's how I started. I
bomb.
wanted I wanted a franchise and they didn't franchise. So I was like, well, I'll just create my own version. And so then I went out and I got the skincare products and I got the candles and, did my own thing. And that's the plug-ins and the car plug-ins and, the sprays and you name it, every inch of my home, my business, baby's room, you know, not many people know this, but you can actually go back on the Wayback Machine and find it because it's actually still hidden. But in 2011, Johnson's had a lawsuit brought against them for the No More Tears shampoo because it was causing blindness in babies.
Yeah, and actually Johnson and Johnson has had a lot of lawsuits against them for fraud and whatnot, and baby powder. So
The
many kids
talc
were
in it, yeah,
their lungs were getting destroyed from when you would powder the baby's bottom and they would inhale that powder. This is a lot of people don't know these things. They don't, obviously if you're a company and you've had these issues, you want to bury it as quick as possible.
of
But
course.
these things that are advertised to us as being like even products for little babies are just they're just terrible and toxic. Oh,
Well, and
Gregory is asking, does Tammy know you're an actor for Dhar Mann? Has she seen your acting?
yes, I do. She's incredible.
That's funny. I'm looking at these comments now. Oh, let's see. What else are people asking? If you guys have any last minute things you've been dying to ask, we've got a couple minutes left. If there's something you want to know personally from Tammy. Oh, guys, Tammy has decided to give all of you guys on here today a 20% discount.
Oh yeah.
That's huge. And I'm not sponsored. I don't get any kickbacks. None of that goes to me. That's just her blessing you guys for being on here today. And, you know, invest in yourself and invest in your health and chuck out all those toxic things. So her her company online is Aviv Spa. You can see that in her name on there. But if you look in the description box on this video, you'll see the 20% discount. Now, when does that expire? How do they have a couple days to
Actually, we gave it a week. So
give it
next
a week?
next Sunday night at
So next
midnight.
Sunday night, that's going to expire, guys. So between now and then, you want to do yourself a favor and invest in something that's not going to be toxic for you. If you already know you're running low on your cleanser or your facial scrub or your moisturizer, or you just want to try like if you're a guy and you just want to try like a hair, body, face oil, or the mask, the what if people okay, so if people do have pain in their body and you've got these dead sea stuff that will pull it out for those people who are dealing with, let's say, fibromyalgia or joint pain, and they don't care about the beauty stuff. What
Yeah.
would you recommend for them that they can put on the air? I notice you put your stuff on certain areas and it pulls out the pain and the toxins. What would you recommend for those people?
The Dead Sea mud. We actually have the mud on the website where you can buy it raw because I started learning as an independent cosmetic company, learning how to make products, and we're actually going to have a new book come out soon with recipes, so to speak, that you can make at home and do yourself. The mud, the salt, the essential oils. And if you make a purchase and you would like to have a free consultation with me, put it in the message and we will get you a link and we will schedule a Zoom call live. And then I can work with you one on one to find out where you
Wow.
want to go, how you want to get there, and then create a way to make that doable for your lifetime and your life stuff, literally, because we
Mhm.
got things going on all the time.
That's really generous of you to I mean, you're not going to get a Zoom meeting with the creator of any other product line.
Well, to me, it's family, and I want to create an age beautifully movement. And the only way to do this is to invest in helping people reach their goals. And that's
Yeah.
why I became an age beautifully coach. So that way, exercise, hydration, eat right. There's even recipes in the book, even in the hydration page, about how to make your water taste okay safely without adding a
Oh,
bunch of junk to it.
yeah, because there's a lot of people that don't like to drink water. So you've got a couple things in the book that show them this is what you can do to make your water taste good without adding like toxic chemicals like Crystal Light or
Yeah,
Kool-Aids or anything that makes it toxic for your body, filled with artificial colors and flavors and dyes and all
right.
that stuff. Nicola wants to know, I'm in the UK. Do you ship internationally?
We'll give it a shot. We've tried it about 7 times and gotten them there. It's just can't do the $12 flat rate shipping in the United States. Don't know what it
Yeah.
would be, but we will work with you. We would love My ultimate goal is I would love to have our products in the UK. I really want to franchise down the road our day spa, Totally Pamper Me, which it has its own little website, totallypamperme.com, with all our services. But
Hmm.
that's one of my ultimate goals down the road is to create that too.
And Avias is asking, what do you think of Bath and Body Works stores? I think we've discussed they have toxic chemicals. I don't think you probably want to buy stuff from there, but they're asking your opinion on
I
Bath.
stay clear, only because of the high content of toxic ingredients with the fragrances. When you walk by one of those facilities or any place, like go in Bed Bath and Beyond, and you go back where the fragrance stuff is at, your nose will almost burn. When you feel that burn, you know it's toxic.
Hmm.
When you got essential oils, they don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a bunch of essential oils just sitting right over here on my desk. So somebody is asking. So I put the link in the description for the code for the discount. Do they have to type in a code too?
Yes, we tried to get it where it was automatic, but the code is
Is it Darman 20?
yes.
Okay. So I'll put that in the description box too. So there is a link, but then when you get to the checkout, there should be a place to put the
Correct.
code in.
Yes, and you type the code in and it'll give you the 20% off.
Okay. So once we get off today, I'll type in the code Darman 20. Okay. Let me look and see if there's any last questions. Vias is asking some funny questions. Do you think politics are toxic?
Yes. No
um,
doubt. I wish we could throw some Dead Sea mud on most of it.
that's the real kind of mudslinging we need to do in politics. Is not giving each other insults, but putting them in,
Yeah.
soaking them in the Dead Sea minerals. Um, let's see. Look, just one to make sure.
Ironically, while you're looking at the questions, back when I first started all this, because everything I do is just put some mud on it, they called me the Mud Queen. And
Oh yes.
so you can actually Google the Mud Queen and you'll see me in the past being at all these different conferences and mudding all these people. Like you came to my party. I've been doing this since like the year 2000. because I was like, I don't want to just talk to you. I want to show you. I want to prove to you what I'm saying is true.
Mhm.
And so that's what I've been doing, those spa pampering nights literally for 23 years now.
So people want to know, where can they find you on social media? Do you have a YouTube channel, a website, Instagram, Facebook? People are asking that.
Yes, Aviv Spa Dead Sea Products has its own. I'm on there as Tammy Ossink Deering. Ossink is my maiden name, so that's my personal page. And then I have a Tammy Deering page. Back 2015 when I started all this stuff, you had to have a page for every single thing. So
Yeah.
I got way too many pages, but it's that way. At least you can find me somehow. Yeah, we've got
Okay.
Totally Pamper Me, Aviv Spa, Tammy Deering. I've even got Concrete Feet First Aid. I mean, Age Beautifully. There's all these pages, so we're actually trying to figure out how to merge them all into something that's one.
Yeah. So we touched on a lot of different things, and we weren't able to probably answer everybody's question. So I just want to reiterate to you guys, if you guys do want to get a consult from Tammy, she's going to open that up to you. You said when they place the order, put in the is
A
there a
message.
box?
Yeah, there's a little message or comments box.
Okay, what if it's somebody who they're not sure what to order until they speak to you first? Is there a way to get you a message to have a consult before they order so they know exactly what to get?
Yes, they can call the shop, and what we do is we allow it to go because we get a lot of robocalls, and so
Yeah.
we have it go through to our voicemail.
Uh-huh.
Leave your name and your number, and we will call you back, and we will get that scheduled. Be more than happy. It doesn't to us. It's not. I be happy to help you before, during, and after. I'm always texting people after they've purchased products, always checking on them because these are not your standard, chemical products.
Yeah.
They're alive. They are literally alive. And so every day's a little different experience too. And that's even a
Mm.
deeper dive than I can go into now because I know you got to go. But it's you just reach out. We will get with you and get it scheduled and set it all up and get you the Zoom link. And then we when we go on, we ask you if you want it recorded or if you don't want it recorded. Most
That
people,
way that way they can watch it back and hear the advice and what you've given them and all that.
yes.
Donald just made a comment that propylene glycol is in most beauty products and it's what's used in antifreeze.
Yes.
So,
And that's what kills the dogs when they lap it.
oh yeah, so you guys know that antifreeze has a sweet smell to it, and that's what would attract animals to drink it if they were thirsty, and so many dogs were dying. I was actually part of a movie that was about rescuing dogs, and we were shooting at an animal shelter. The animal shelter had just moved to a different place, so we were getting people bringing animals to us and sick animals thinking we were the animal shelter, but it was actually a film crew. One time someone brought in a box of puppies and they were all sick and dying because they had drank antifreeze.
Oh God.
And so because of that, this film that I was involved in, we worked with, I forget who, some celebrity. And because of the film footage that we shot of these dogs, these puppies that died, we got legislation passed in California where they had to take out the sweet smell from the antifreeze so dogs wouldn't be attracted to drink it.
Good for you. That's wonderful. Thank you.
So
That's
anyway, thank you all for being here today. I know we went a little over. Tammy's so generous with her time. And as soon as we get off, I will put the discount code in the bottom and you guys have a week to use it if you want to. And thank you again, Tammy. I really hope your message reaches a lot of people and gives them hope, not just for the outside, but for their inside.
amen. Thank you so much.
All right.
It's such a
Take
blessing.
care.
Thank you, dear.
Bye.